All right, we'll go ahead and crank.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to State Government Committee. And at this time, I'd like to ask the clerk if they would take the roll, please.
Representatives Alexander, Beck, Bricken, Carr, Carringer, Chisholm, Cooper, Halford, Helton, Holsclaw, Halsey, Jernigan, Johnson, Littleton, Marsh, Moon, Powell, Wendell, Vice Chairman Eldridge, Chairman Kiesling.
Don't have,
Wendell stepped up.
okay, right.
Oh, here's Jack.
We back on. Here's Beck. Okay, I believe we do detect a quorum. This afternoon, first thing, let's, does any of the members have any personal orders? Seeing none. Chairman Kiesling is presenting a bill in another committee and should return pretty shortly. And at his, I guess at his request, the Today in History, I'm gonna do that. I think that's normally his thing, but today, 1965, more than 4,000 Marines landed at Da Nang in South Vietnam and became the first U.S. combat troops in Vietnam. In 1971, Muhammad Ali and Smoking Joe Frazier met for the fight of the century at Madison Square Garden in New York. Frazier won the fight by unanimous decision, retaining his title and delivering Ali the first loss of his career. And on this date in history in 2014, Malaysian airline flight 370 carrying 227 passengers and 12 crew members lost contact with air control less than an hour after taking off, then veers off course and disappears. Most of the plane and everyone on board were never seen or heard from again. And ladies and gentlemen, that is today in history on March the 8th. If nothing else, we'll go ahead and roll into their calendar. And take up the addendum. Okay, who's presenting? Okay. First up, we'll take up an addendum calendar. This is an SJR. It's 1147, presented by Representative Gillespie. Do we have a motion? We have a motion and a second. Representative, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What this is a very timely event bill, SJR. It is urging President Biden and the United States Congress for the full removal of all Russian financial institutions from the SWIFT system. It is also urging President Biden to immediately expel from the United States all Russian diplomatic personnel, and is also urging the President of the United States and the United States Congress to immediately ban all imports from Russia. Like I said, it's very timely right now. I'm sure everyone is aware that's watching and in the room of what's going on at this current moment. The Russian military is currently shelling civilian refugees that are leaving the capital and trying to escape, and all sorts of other very heinous, I would call war crimes that are being committed. I know this is not normally the place where we talk about such things, but again, in extreme circumstances, I think it is upon us to raise the public awareness level. And with that, I welcome any questions.
Thank you. Any questions of the sponsor? Chairman Halsey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Banning Russian imports, I'm just asking, would that include oil and fuel, since we were pretty much energy independent until Biden took office and killed a whole lot of that. And so now I think 30% of our oil import comes out of Russia. Would that be to ban that too?
Representative?
So thank you for that question. It is my understanding that since this, like I said, this is a very, timely developing circumstance. It's my understanding that President Biden did announce just a couple hours ago, and I don't know if that was an executive order or what mechanism that is, that the United States officially has already cut off all oil and energy exports from the Russian government. So I don't know.
Thank you. Chairman Bricken?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I mean, I'm 2 out of 3 is not bad. The expelling the diplomats just, I mean, don't get me wrong. I know this is symbolic, but diplomacy should always have a place. And as much as I don't think they listen well, I think the other two is fine for the record. I just have a real trouble with saying we want to kick out diplomats.
Representative?
And thank you, Representative Bricken. I do agree, diplomacy at all costs. However, back to the point about the shelling this morning of innocent civilians trying to leave the area, that was a direct result, at least to my understanding, of the third round of failed peace talks between the Ukrainian and Russians. And again, I think that diplomatic efforts are extremely necessary. Right now, it's very clear that Russia is on an agenda, and peace isn't evidently part of it. I do know that we have plenty of other embassies in Moscow and other countries with close ties to Russia that we can also communicate through the third-party nations.
Any follow-up? Vice Chairman Jernigan?
Thank you, Chairman. I was just going to say to tell Representative Halsey that the announcement was made today as well. And by the way, it's 1%. It's not 30. No, it's 1. And so Biden didn't do that bad as far as. Thank you.
Okay. Any?
And I'm not here to, to get into all the details, but I will say that, this is a very timely event. And I think there are certain opportunities where it's incumbent upon us as elected people to, represent some of the values of the democratic republic that we live in. And I think this is just an example of that. So,
Okay.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Or if not, we'll vote on SJR 1147. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. All right, the SJR, it goes, you move on to calendar and rules. Okay. All right. Let's go to item number 1 on our regular calendar. This is House Bill 2514 by Chairman Crawford. We have a motion and a second. Chairman, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, committee. Before I get started, would it be all right to take a little personal order here and introduce? I have with me today Marty Green. She's from Rutherford County, and she's my shadow today.
Excellent.
So she's following me around.
Glad to have you.
They should have picked somebody better for us, shouldn't they? I wanted to talk to you today about House Bill 2514. This is open container law. It's been passed in Virginia. So on one side of the street where I represent is Tennessee. Consistent, but basically what it does is it allows the TABC, Tennessee Alcohol and Beverage Commission, to designate an area, and it has to meet all state regulations as far as you have to be 21, no kids, no firearms, that kind of thing. But we have some large festivals in my area, one being called Rhythm and Roots. And so what we're trying to do is get an area there to where the patrons of our festival can go in and eat And if they want to walk out on the street and with their beer or whatever, they can do that. It just has to be in that one specific area. And this is a temporary license, or a festival license, I believe is what they call it. It's just for that one particular event, not every day.
Okay.
I'll be glad to take any questions.
We've heard the explanation. Okay. Chairman Halford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just wondering if this area would be designated by some kind of marking or something like that, so you wouldn't inadvertently walk out of the area with a drink in your hand or something like that?
It's my understanding, I don't know this 100%, but they fence it off, not fence it off, that rubber fencing, like they bury the area off to where children can't get in and that kind of thing. So yes,
Thank
it
you, Mr.
would be a
Chairman.
designated footprint.
Any other discussion? Question's been called for. All in favor of House Bill 2514 moving on to Finance, Ways and Means? Aye. Any opposed? You move out to Finance, Ways and Means, Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, committee.
Next up on our calendar is House Bill 2716 by Chairman Terry. Do we have a motion? And we have motion and a second. Chairman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman and Committee. Last year, the House and Senate unanimously passed House Bill 1312, which protected the privacy of a minor that was in a fatal motor vehicle accident as it relates to photographic evidence. The bill today before you is to extend that privacy to all victims of a fatal motor vehicle accident. What had occurred last year that the bill was brought to me was that there was a student that had left a football game, and she was in a car wreck, and photographs were taken of that. Her mom became aware of that somebody had photographs, and she realized that she did not have any sort of privacy as it related to those, and those could have been used in any training purposes or anything like that. And so she brought the bill, and we've last year we protected that privacy. The way the bill was structured last year, it also protected, I think one of the members here had asked a question about Rule 16 as it relates to criminal procedure, and so it protected that as well. So when that passed, that same mother, they were in some chat groups and this, that, and the other. And the question was, well, what about if I've got a 19-year-old, or what about my mom? And so they came back and asked if we could extend this to all folks. And so I'm here with the bill.
Heard the explanation. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, are we ready for the question? All in favor of sending House Bill 2716 to Calendar and Rules, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Sir, you move out to Calendar and Rules.
Thank you, Chairman and Committee.
Right. Chairman Littleton, on personal order.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm sorry I was late, and I know I'm out of order, but I too have a shadow today. It's Callie Klepper, and she's also from Rutherford County. So we've tried to show her how things really work around here, and we're glad to have youth with us. So let's give her a round of applause and thank her for being here. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Glad you're here. Item number 3 on the calendar, House Bill 2569 by Chairman Reagan, has been asked to be rolled for 1 week without objection. This brings us to item number 4 by Chairman Hawk. It's House Bill 2308. We're going to roll him 3 spaces. Okay. We're going to jump around just a little bit. We've got some people that are not in here yet. And we're going to move to item number 7. This is House Bill 2309 by Representative Freeman. We have a motion and a second. Representative, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman and Committee. I have an amendment with a tracking number 015002, and it
All
makes
right.
the bill.
All right, this amendment rewrites the bill, I see.
Yes, sir.
With that objection, we'd go ahead and put the amendment on the bill, if that's agreeable with the committee. All in favor? Yeah, I need a motion and a second on that. We have a motion and a second. All in favor of attaching House Amendment Bill, or House Amendment 15002 to the House Bill 2309, please say aye. Any opposed? The amendment is on the bill and you're recognized.
Thank you, sir. This is, I'm going to read the amendment real quick because it's really short. I just want to make sure we all know exactly what we're doing. Notwithstanding another provision in the section, a public benefit does not include a professional or commercial license for purpose of this section. To be eligible for a professional or commercial license, an applicant must show that the applicant is either a U.S. citizen or authorized under federal law to work in the United States, as verified by the SAVE program. So where this came from is I had a business owner in my community who had an employee who was legally, lawfully within the United States and able to work, and tried to get a professional license and was told they couldn't. And when looking into it, we recognized that there was a loophole in the law, and what this hopes to do is fix it. Right now, there are probably 7,000 to 9,000 people that fit within this category. Again, legally, lawfully within the United States, ready and willing to work. This will allow them to get professional licenses to do stuff like wait tables, nurses, you name it, anything that the state authorizes as a state license or as a license, it would allow them the benefit of this. So with that, I stand ready to answer any questions.
You've heard the description of the bill. Is there any discussion? Question's been called. All in favor of House Bill 2309 as amended, please say aye. Any opposed? You move out to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Chairman and committee.
Okay. All right, next up is House Bill 1997. Do we have a motion second? Okay, we have a motion and a second. Representative Cochran, you are recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Chairman, this is brought to us by the Secretary of State's office. I believe they've been visiting. Yes, sir.
One thing, I see you do have an amendment.
That is correct, Mr. Chairman. You want to go ahead and add that?
It does rewrite the bill. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Do we have a motion on? Okay. We have a motion and a second to add amendment number 14321 to House Bill 1997. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Okay, we're back on the bill as amended. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And so again, this is brought to us by the Secretary of State's office. I think they visited with some of you, talking to you about this bill. It's a cleanup bill that is modernizing the section of code talking about administrative procedures. I'll give you just a very couple brief examples of that. Recently, attorneys, when they are before an administrative law judge, they've started requesting communication and official documents via email. This is kind of codifying that and saying, if a final order is sent via email, that's just as binding as receiving it via mail. It's updating some terms that actually take into account Zoom, again, something that really didn't exist when that section of code was initially written. So that's kind of the gist of it. It's modernizing that section of code. Secretary of State's office is here to testify if you need any further technical details than that.
Heard the explanation. Is there any discussion? Question's been called on the bill. All in favor of House Bill 1997, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Representative Cochran, you move out to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Chairman and committee.
Okay, let's go to item number 9, House Bill 1995 by Representative Vital. We have a motion and a second. Representative, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. I come before you on House Bill 1995. This legislation is brought by the Secretary of State's office to change the manner that charities, charity solicitors, and athletic agents certify a small number of documents so that these parties can electronically file these documents in the new electronic filing system being developed by the Secretary of State. Although most documents filed by the Business Services and Charitable Division do not require the filer to notarize the document or otherwise swear under the penalty of perjury that the contents of a document are true and correct, a small amount of documents do. Because the electronic filing platform will use online documents where a user will fill in the blanks, documents that would require notarization could not be filed under this electronic platform. Allowing citizens and organizations to file all documents electronically will create greater efficiency for both the users of the system and the department. Notably, the removal of the notarization requirement for certification of the small amount of documents that will be removed will not impact the Department of State or the Attorney General's office from enforcement on false information. This bill will promote electronic filing and will positively impact charities. I move for passage based on any questions.
You've heard the explanation. Is there any questions for the sponsor? Questions been called on the bill. All in favor of sending House Bill 1995 to Calendar Rules, say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Thank
Sir,
you, Mr.
you move out to
Chairman.
Calendar and Rules.
Thank you, members.
This brings us back to item number 4, House Bill 2308. We'd rolled it 3 spaces. We're going to roll it to the hill without objection. Okay. This will bring us to item number 11. Flipped it one page too many. Item number 11 is House Bill 2616. You have a motion, a second by Chairman Holtzclaw. Oh, I see you over there. You're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman and committee members. Basically, HB, and it does have an amendment, HB 2616.
Okay.
Can I get a motion, a second on mine?
I don't have.
It's a very simple bill. It's tracking number 012139.
Was it timely file?
Mm-hmm.
So we're on the bill. Okay, we're on the bill. House Bill 2616. You're recognized, Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman. And HB 2616 basically allows the winner of a lottery to remain anonymous. As you well know, a winner attracts a lot of attention, such as news media, investment organizations, and even unknown friends. And in the past, this publicity has resulted in robberies and even murder. So I moved to allow lottery winners remain anonymous.
Heard the explanation. Is there any discussion on the bill? Seeing none, all in favor of House Bill 2616, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Chairman, you move out to Calendar and Rules.
Thank you, Chairman, committee members.
We're going to take a moment and go out of session while we get Chairman Kiesling up here in charge.
Okay, we are now. Let us go back into session. Again, as a reminder, members, we are on item number 5, House Bill 2273, and we want to welcome Chairman Williams to the podium. You're looking great today, sir. You're you're recognized, and you already have a motion and a second. You are again to you, sir.
Thank you, Chairman and members. My apologies on being tardy to the committee meeting today. This bill was brought to me by the treasurer. Since 2012, the Tennessee Consolidated Retirement System has used a computer system called Concord as its central system to manage the state's defined benefits retirement systems. Prior to Concord, TCRS maintained multiple administrative systems. The Concord project was authorized to replace previous retirement operating systems and consolidate the various retirement administration systems into one centralized system. This bill would authorize TCRS to procure a new system and implement other technology improvements to prevent systems from once again becoming obsolete and maintain their functionality. This bill would take effect upon becoming law. Mr. Chairman, I'm happy to answer any questions you or the members might have. And the Ambassador West, who is the Chief of Staff for the Treasury's office, is here, my former intern, in case the questions get real hard.
Certainly, and if we have to turn to the ambassador, we will.
Thank
you, Chairman, for that explanation. Are there any questions to the sponsor? See, none. Got a question called. I see no objections. That means we are ready to vote. Let us vote on House Bill again, 2273. Those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed, like sign. Ayes have it. And Chairman, you are moving on to CNR, and you know what that acronym stands for.
No, sir, would you explain that to me?
Calendar,
Thank you, Chair.
calendar and rules. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. It has been one crazy day with all of our members presenting bills. We're going to move down. Members, if you will, go with me to item number 12. Let's turn to item number 12. That's House Bill 2450. And we have a motion, and I already have a second. Chairman Weaver. Wow, I'm impressed. You are recognized, ma'am. I see no amendments. You're ready to go. Excuse me, Chair Lady. Here's your mic on. Are you alive?
Mr. Williams turned me off. I'm
Get
on now.
active with me. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so this is House Bill 2450. Are we on the same page? Is that what I'm doing right now?
2450, yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay. Members, this bill was given to me by our beloved treasurer. And under the current law, a TCRS member can obtain credit in the system by transferring their employer and employee contributions from a local government's retirement system to TCRS. When we passed it last year, we had a little bump in the road. So in order for us not to jeopardize our federal funding, we needed to fix it this year. And you know, that's what we do here at the General Assembly. We try to fix things. So this bill amends current law to provide that years of service in a political subdivision may be established in the TCRS by paying the actuarial, whatever that word is, determined cost of the service. Thank you, Josh. So as a result of the federal rule prohibiting the transfer of employer contributions, the bill amends current law to remove the requirement that employer contributions be transferred to the TCRS. So basically, you can't have two public pensions for the same service. If you are working for the state, the local, and you're putting your pension and retirement in, you want to follow it to the state. You can't do that. You have to be able to go through the TCRS. And then there's a process to make sure that you get the retirement that is due to you. That's what the bill does.
Very good. Good explanation. Questions to the sponsor? You have heard. We ready? I think we're ready for the questions. I see no objections. Let's do that. So let us vote. Those in favor of House Bill 2450, please say aye. Pose like sign. Ayes have it. And you just stay right there. You're on to that one is going on to calendar and rules, Chair Lady. Let's move on, members, to the next one. That is Chair Lady Weaver's as well. That's item number 13, House Bill 1649. You are recognized, Chair Lady.
Thank you, Chairman. Members, and now I want to make sure this is correct, but I was just given notice that this bill, and I know, Mr. Keesley, you are very attentive to this, so you probably already know, but that failed in the Senate, state, and local government. Do you have a record of that?
One moment, please.
I mean, I'll be glad to explain the bill, but I don't want to take up more of your time.
Chair Lady, just let's go out of session, and I'd like to direct that bring on Mr. Josh for a explanation. I think he was there during that period. Okay, if you would, Josh, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Josh Houston, Legal Services. I'm the attorney for the Senate State and Local Committee, and that bill did fail in committee this morning.
Okay. So see, I saved you some time. How about that?
So you would like for us then to, I take it off notice. How about that, right?
Bingo.
Correct? Okay, no objections. We will take that off notice.
All right.
Thank you very
so
much for your time today.
And thank you for your time and attention. Have a blessed day, y'all.
Thank you. All right, we're jumping around. Let's go back down the road to item number 10. Item 10 on your calendar. That'll be House Bill 1913 by our esteemed Chairman Eldridge. We got a motion and a second. Chairman, you are recognized, sir. But I also see an amendment. So if you would you please give us that that drafting code, please?
Yes, Chairman. The drafting code is 14365.
That is correct. So we need a motion.
does
How about a
make-
motion? Got a motion? Yes, we do. We got a motion and a second on the amendment. At this time, would you want to explain the amendment, Chairman, or does it make the bill? If it is, we'll just get it on now.
It makes the bill.
It does. Okay, it makes the bill, he states. So let us, if I see no objections, let us vote for amendment with drafting code 14365. Those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, like sign. Ayes have it. It is now on the bill. Back to you, Chairman Eldridge. You're recognized.
This change is coming through on Title 41. There's some discrepancies between it and Title 68 in the disposition of a inmate that has passed away. This will clear up some issues there that would allow, instead, I think in the title, in Title 41, I believe is this would particularly pertain to correctional institutions and inmates. And this would bring Title 41 to allow for cremations. It brings it in line with Title 68 so that to ensure that 68 does include the correctional facilities.
Okay.
So this currently it says that the body has to be decently interred, and sometimes the families either choose to or can't afford to claim the body, and it's left up to the state to make arrangements for the disposition of the body. So this would allow for cremation.
Very good. Very good explanation. Any questions to the sponsor? Have a question? Whoops. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. Okay. We do have Chairman Moon. You're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just for clarification, I thought when we put the amendment on, the amendment made the bill.
Pardon me?
I thought when we were ready, the amendment made the bill, I thought I heard the sponsor say, and the amendment has to do with notification.
I believe I misspoke on that one. Yes, sir.
Just for the record, I
Just,
just
yes,
asked.
I
It
did
has to
miss.
do with the disposition of the body.
That's correct. I did misspeak on that.
Oh.
It does not make the bill. The amendment does not.
Just for the record. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, sponsor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Moon. Further questions? It does make the bill.
Pardon?
It does make the bill. Let us go out of session. We're going to turn to legal for an explanation, for the record to clarify.
Thank you, Matt Money from Legal. You're both right. And, the amendment does make the bill, and it does deal with the disposition of bodies due to some conflicting statutes that made it unclear for Department of Correction as to how to dispose of unclaimed bodies. This would allow them to reduce their cost by being able to potentially cremate bodies that are unclaimed rather than bury them.
Questions to legal? You've heard the explanation. Questions? I see none. We'll go back into session. Further questions to the bill sponsor? Hear a call for the question. See no objections. Therefore, let us vote. Those in favor of House Bill 1913 as amended, please say aye. Those opposed, like sign. Ayes have it. And Chairman, you are headed to calendar and rules with that. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you, Chairman and committee. And to Chairman Moon over there, I figure he pretty well would know, so I couldn't really argue with him on that one. But thank you.
Understandable, sir. No problem. Thank you. All right, item number 14, members, let's move on up. Item 14, House Bill 2339 by Chairman Wendell. Chairman Wendell, you have we got a motion and a second. I see you have an amendment, Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, at the request of multiple members of this committee, I asked legal to draft an amendment to address their concerns. I would like to defer to legal to explain the amendment, please, Mr. Chairman.
Well, your request certainly would be or will be granted. We'll go out of session, no objections, and we will turn our attention to legal. Mr. Mundy, or will it be Mr.
Matt Mundy. I'm going to start with the original bill, House Bill 2339, which said subject to appropriations in the General Appropriations Act, preferred service employees of the Department of Correction would have their wages and salaries increased by 15%. And additionally, starting salaries and wages for preferred service employees of the department are increased by 15%. And it's my understanding that we wanted to capture a smaller cohort of people. And so we narrowed the scope of those that we, if this were to pass, would get a pay increase to preferred service employees of the department other than correctional officers who I understand from testimony had already received a pay increase. And then we added an additional 22 hearing officials consisting of 1 hearings assistant director, 4 parole hearings, regional supervisors, and 17 hearing officers, and 8 sentence docket technicians consisting of 5 docket technicians 2 and 3 docket technicians 3. And this becomes effective on July 1, 2022, and preserves the provision regarding the increase in salary for correctional officers moving forward after that date.
All right, you have heard an explanation of the amendment. Questions to legal before we return to session? We do. Yes, Representative Beck, you're recognized.
Yes, and I don't know if we have to go out of session for this, but was that amendment 148 or 876? There's 2
That
amendments.
Mr. Mundy, you want to address that question?
Sure. Thank you. Matt Money from Legal. It's both. It's 14876.
Representative Beck, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Mr. Mundy.
Thank you, sir. Further questions to legal? Before we do, sponsor, Representative Chairman Wendell, any questions before we will be going back in session here to specifically to Mr. Mundy?
One point of clarification, please. My understanding is that multiple members of the committee wanted to make sure that the employees of the Department of Correction who were not included in the pay raise by Governor Bill Lee about 60 days ago were included in this amendment. I want to make sure this amendment encompasses that. Also, there are approximately 30 employees who are preferred service. And when I use the term preferred service, my understanding of preferred service is people that are not included in executive service, which is maybe old civil service tech terminology. But my understanding is that there were 30 employees under Richard Montgomery, who's the chairman of the parole board, who were not included in this group. And most of the employees at the parole board are in fact executive service and work at the pleasure of the governor and were included in different pay raises. I want to make sure that this amendment also encompasses not just the employees that were requested by my colleagues on this committee, but also includes the employees who are in what I term as preferred service at the parole board. Is that a correct assumption that this amendment is inclusive of all of those employees?
Mr. Mundy.
Yes, if I'm following you correctly, I think that is a correct assumption. Preferred service employees by definition are not executive service employees. Those are by definition include your commissioners, deputy commissioners, and officers, the higher paid employees within the department.
And Mr. Chairman, I don't want to have a running debate, and he's been very helpful, but I want to make sure that this amendment includes not just the employees that we talked about last week to the members of this committee, but also includes the employees, not of parole board chairman Montgomery, but those that work at the parole board. It includes everybody. Everybody's included in this, as opposed, or not as opposed, but in lieu of the employees that are correctional officers or in the security series.
Understandably. Mr. Mundy, you're recognized.
As I understand it, yes, that's correct. And I think that's going to the 30 officers that deal with the parole hearings and the sentencing.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I don't mean to belabor the point.
No,
I just want to make sure that
certainly.
But I mean, and I appreciate it, Mr. Mundy.
Absolutely.
Perfect explanation, and I appreciate you clearing
Thank
me up.
you.
Thank you.
Chairman Jernigan, were you? Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Okay. Further questions to legal? See none. Let's go back. We're no objections. We are now back in session. To the sponsor. Okay, we as a reminder, we are on the amendment, and we do need a motion and a second. Was that signifying a motion? All right, we got a motion. You got a motion and a second on the amendment. Now, so we got a motion and a second. Is it on the amendment or is it on the bill, Chairman Brickman? Continue on. All right. Okay, we got any objections? Any questions now on the amendment? See none. I see no objections. Let's vote on the amendment. Remember, it is 14876. Those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed, like sign. Ayes have it. Now we have that bill, House Bill 2339, the amendment on that. Chairman Bricken, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the amended bill, the fiscal notes there, $31,595,000. That's down $20 million from the original bill. Is that because we've excluded the higher echelons of safety?
Chairman Wendell.
My understanding is, and I'll defer to fiscal review, my understanding is the reason it dropped $20 million is it excluded the security series employees that had already received a pay raise straight from executive action. And I included everybody in the 15% pay raise. Members of this committee, rightfully so, pointed out that may have been an overreach. And as a result, I had an amendment drafted to try to take the concerns, not just of taking the security series out of the pay raise, but also including some other individual concerns that members of this committee had. But it's my understanding that the $20 million decrease is a result of taking the security series out of another pay raise, which would have resulted in them getting a 30% pay raise, which they certainly deserve from my perception, but it might not be fair when you stack that against some of the others who did not get raises, such as maintenance workers, or I mean, again, I won't go into too much, but most people in this room have heard from individuals who work at a prison who have been left out of the pay raises, and this maybe makes this equal. And I know that there's some intent or some desire to fund this, and we're going to have to work that out as we get on down the pike. But I think this puts it in the right posture that addresses the concerns that rightfully so this committee helped me straighten this bill out, because it was not correct when we started.
Chairman Bricken, the sponsor did mention legal. Would you want to go further with this and we can go out of session? No, he says no. Further questions though, Mr. or Chairman Bricken? Further questions? None? Okay. Any questions? Any more questions to the sponsor? See, now we've got a call for the question. Here we go. Let's vote. Those in favor of House Bill 2339 as amended, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, like sign. Ayes have it. And Chairman Wendell, you are going to Finance, Ways, and Means. Okay. Well, right, let's go to item number 4. Item 4.
Motion.
And we have a motion and a second. And Chairman Hawk, it is always great to see you here in this committee.
Thank you, Chairman.
You're
and
very
members.
appreciative and pardon. And this is item number 4, House Bill 2308. You are recognized, sir.
Thank you, Chairman and members. I think I heard a motion in a second.
You did, sir.
Thank you.
Continue.
So, and thank you for indulgence and forgive my tardiness. I was in the building next door.
We
please.
completely understand.
Last year, we passed legislation that said photographic evidence of the death of a minor in an automobile accident was not open for the public. That begat an idea in my mind: why should any accidental death of a minor be open, the photographic evidence be open to anyone? And at the time, the Kobe Bryant accident, the helicopter accident was fresh on everyone's minds. There's unfortunately many tragedies and many minors who lost their lives in that. What this does, it would extend photographic evidence of a minor death in any accident would not be open to the public. We are mirroring some legislation that Representative Terry is carrying, and I think the thought is, Chairman Kiesling and others, that would love to pass this bill through, and we'll leave one of those bills in calendar rules and just decide how to work with our senator on this. But certainly would like to move this legislation forward at the will of the committee, Chairman and members.
Thank you. Thank you for that explanation, Chairman. Any further questions to the sponsor? We've got a motion. Call for the question. Question's being called. See no objections to that, so let us vote. House Bill 2308. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Ayes have it. And Chairman Hawk, you are off to Gov Ops.
Oh, thank you, Chairman and members. Thank you.
Sir, thank you. Item 6 is next. Item 6. Well, he was here. The chairman was. Stand by just a moment. Okay, we'll go to item 15. Back to you, Chairman Wendell. Item 15.
Motion.
And let me get to it. I'm still struggling to get over there. House Bill 2734. No, wait a minute. That's not. No. Is it 15? Okay, I'm sorry. House Bill 2734. Chairman Wendell, you have amendment.
Mr. Chairman and members,
Would you
due
give
to
us that drafting code, please?
Mr. Chairman, there's been no movement on this bill in the Senate, and therefore I request to be taken off notice.
Okay, well, if there's no objections, so moved. House Bill 15, or excuse me, item 15, House Bill 2734 is taken off notice. Now, there's our distinguished chairman. He's back in here. What number was that? 6. Okay. Item number 6, Chairman Whitson with House Bill 1854. And that is carrying an amendment. Would you, sir, give us that amendment, that drafting code? We
Yes,
got a
sir.
motion and a second on your bill.
Thank you, sir. And I show amendment drafting code 013733, sir.
That is absolutely correct, sir. I have a motion. Yes, we do. We have a motion and a second on that. Will this, do you want to move this now? Get
Yes,
it
sir.
on the bill?
Makes it on the
Chairman,
bill,
is that
sir.
what you'd like to do?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second here. A call for the question. Get this on the bill here. Got a call for the question. Though, let's vote. Those in favor of amendment 13733, please say aye. Those opposed, like sign. Ayes have it. It is now on the bill. House Bill 1854 is amended now. Chairman Whitson, you're recognized, sir.
Good to see you again so soon from
Yes, sir.
Transportation Subcommittee, Chairman. So,
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all's patience. We had a full agenda and we're still in session over there, so I need to be brief. This bill deals with the part of the public records law that involves the process of making requests. The purpose is to improve consistency and clarity to the terminology in places in which the language causes occasional confusion in the field. The changes are in accordance with current law and advisements from the Office of Open Records Counsel in the Comptroller's Office. As amended, this bill makes it clear that the law does not require a governmental entity to compile information from multiple files into a new record to answer a public records request. This bill also makes clear that a person request for public record must be sufficiently detailed to enable the government entity to identify responsive records, changing the word specific to responsive so that it is not misinterpreted to mean that the requester must necessarily name the specific title of the record. Finally, our public record law permits a governmental entity to decide whether or not they will fulfill public records requests from people who don't live in Tennessee. This bill clarifies that if a person does not have a government-issued photo identification like a driver's license, the other forms of identification that may be required must be shown to be evidence of a person's residency in Tennessee. With that, Mr. Chairman, I renew my motion.
Thank you for that explanation. Chairman Whitson, any questions to Chairman Whitson this time? I see none, hear none. Do have a call for the question, so we do. Thank you for that, and see no objections. So let us vote on House Bill 1854 as amended. Those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, like sign. The ayes have it. Congratulations, you are off to calendar and rules, Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you
and
for
committee.
being with us, sir.
Apologize for the late arrival. Thank you for this.
Okay, we have, that's my understanding. That does include conclude the calendar. Do I, if there's no objection, I hear any motion to adjourn. Got a motion, got a second. We are adjourned. Thank you, members.